Now we're going to take a look at factoring trinomials. Trinomials are polynomials that have 3 terms. So 3, 3. We're looking at 3 now. Not 4 like factor by grouping, but 3 terms. In this first example, we have 3x squared plus 8x plus 4. So there's our required 1, 2, 3 terms. Now, we know when we factor this that our answer, well, maybe we don't know, but you'll learn to know, that our answer is going to look something like this. We're going to have 2 factors, and they're going to be binomials, 2 pieces of information in each. And in the first seat, if you will, in each factor, we're going to have an x. X times x is going to give us our x squared there. One of the things that we have to consider and come up with is what are the numbers that are going to be sitting in there. So in order to come up with that information, what we're going to do is we are going to look at the coefficient in front of this x squared term, and we're going to look at this constant number here. So in our trinomial, we're going to look at the number from the first term and the last term in terms of coefficients, 3 and 4, and we're going to multiply them together. So 3 times 4 is 12. The other information we're going to consider is, because this middle term is not to be ignored, is this 8 here, the coefficient from the middle term or the x term. And that information is going to sit here. So first and last get multiplied together, and then the middle term sits here. Now, what do we do with this? With this 12 here, what we are going to be considering are the factors. So we're going to be considering the factors of this 12, and then we're going to look at numbers that will add to this 8. So we're going to look at factors of this number that add to this middle number there. So let's start. 12. Factors of 12 would be 1 times 12. 1 times 12 is 12. What happens when we add them? 1 plus 12 is equal to 13. That's not our 8. So we have to consider other factors of 12. Well, we can go to 2. 2 times 6. 2 times 6, again, is the 12. And now when we look what happens when we add, 2 plus 6 is 8. That's the combination that's going to work. That's going to give us our 8 that we need for the middle term. Now, when you go through this process, it's a lot of trial and error. You're going to have to think of factors, and in most cases, you're going to be able to generate quite a few factor pairs for a number here, but there's only going to be one combination of those factor pairs that's going to add to the number needed. So don't get discouraged if you don't get it right away. You just keep plugging along at it. And oh, by the way, you do have calculators if you need to help you. So what do we do with this 2 and 6? We take that information and we put it in our factors. If we look here, 2 and 6 are both positive because we look to multiply 2 numbers to get a positive 12. And in this case, it would be positive 2 and positive 6. So that's what we write inside our parentheses there. So far, so good. However, if we take a look at our trinomial, x times x is x squared. We don't have just x squared. We have 3x squared. So what we do next is we are going to take our information as written here. So let me write it again so the steps are clear for you. And we are going to divide each number here by this 3. So we have 2 divided by 3 and 6 divided by 3. So we take the number from the first term and we do our division. Next, we take a look to see, well, can we clean this up a little bit? So looking here, we have x plus 2/3. There's no division that we can do or simplification that we can do that would not create a decimal number. This 2/3 is a fraction in simplest form, so we're going to write it like that. Now here, 6 divided by 3, we can simplify that to 2. So we made good progress. Here's what our factors are looking like. When you reduce, if there is a division to be done, and after you clean it up, if you are left with a fraction like this, what we're going to do is we're going to take one more step. This factor is fine because there's nothing to be cleaned up there. But now what we're going to do here is we are going to take this denominator here, that 3, and we're going to put it in front of that x. So we're going to have 3x plus 2. So we clean this up by taking the 3 from the denominator and putting it in front. So 3x plus 2 times x plus 2, that would be our final answer for this problem. And as always, I know you would miss it if I didn't remind you that you could check your answer here by doing the FOIL multiplication to make sure you come up with the original polynomial. Another example. Again, a trinomial 1, 2, 3. And once again, we take a look at the number in the back, the constant in the back, and the coefficient here. Now remember, there's no explicit number that we see here, but we know it's 1. So 1 and 8, 1 times 8 is 8, and we're going to be looking at factors of that 8. Now, middle term not to be forgotten, we have the 6. We put that over here, and I'm abbreviating now with the factors and the addition. So we want factors of 8 that add to 6. Starting, you might see it right away. I'm going to start from the beginning. 1 times 8. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 plus 8 is equal to 9. That doesn't work because we need 6. How about 2? 2 times 4 is 8. 2 plus 4 is 6. That's what we need. That's the combination that works. So we go to our factors. Again, we have an x squared, so we have our x and x. And we're going to use this combination we came up with of positive 2 and positive 4. Now, we go and look at this first term. The coefficient is 1. So x times x is our 1x squared. We can stop there. If you want to continue the thinking like we did in the early example, if we were to divide 2 by this one, 2 divided by 1 is just 2, it doesn't change it, and 4 divided by 1 is 4, so these two factors that we have here are our final example.